John Ulzheimer is known as one of our nation's most recognized credit experts. Having worked for 28 years in the credit industry, John has become one of the most prolific speakers about credit and the go-to authority on answers to credit-related questions. Credit Countdown with John Ulzheimer.
Hey there, this is John Ulzheimer. I am a consumer credit expert. I have spent almost 30 years in the credit industry. Spent time at FICO, which is the company behind the FICO credit scoring system, and Equifax, which is one of the three generally recognized credit reporting agencies in the United States. So today I'm going to talk about a little bit about what you can do if someone tries to open an account in your name. And the code word for this is fraud. If someone is using your identity to open credit without your permission, then that's considered fraud. Some people call that identity theft. Some people call it true name fraud. Some people call it credit fraud. It's kind of all the same thing, right? Someone's using your identity without your permission to open an account fraudulently, and it's a credit account. You can kind of see where all these little monikers come from. So what do you do if you find out that someone is trying to open an account in your name? First off, there's good news. And the good news is that if you're finding out while someone's applying for credit in your name, you're really on the front end of the problem, right? I mean, if you found out after they had opened an account, after they'd taken out a bunch of money, after they had defaulted on the account and skipped town, you're really on the back end of the problem in that scenario. But if you're finding out that someone's applying for credit in your name, you're really on the front end of the problem. And there's a variety of things that you can do. The first thing you should do is you should contact the lender. If you know which lender it is with whom the fraudster is applying for credit, and you probably will know because there may be an inquiry on your credit report from that lender. You may have gotten a letter from that lender. You may have gotten a phone call from that lender. So it's not inconceivable that you wouldn't know who that lender is. I've been the victim of fraud a variety of times, and I've always known which lender it was. So the first thing you need to do is contact the lender, let them know, this isn't me, don't open the account, don't extend credit, don't give out any money, this isn't me. And that way you've put them on notice that you're being victimized here. And they may get you to sign something, they may get you to affirm under penalty of perjury that you're not benefiting from the fraud, that you're not the one perpetrating the fraud. So you may have to, jump through some hoops, and it may be a little bit uncomfortable, but unfortunately this is kind of like, to the extent the consumer has any responsibility in the whole credit ecosystem, this is one of them. If we're choosing to be in the credit ecosystem, then we need to be cooperative with lenders, especially if fraudulent activity is occurring. The next thing you should do is you should place a freeze on your credit reports. I love this kind of as a proactive strategy, even if you haven't been the victim of fraud. If you place a security freeze on your credit reports, which you can do for free, by the way, it's been free since 2018, then that's going to prevent the credit reporting agencies from giving away or disclosing your credit reports to a lender in response to some sort of a credit inquiry. The credit freeze essentially takes your credit reports out of circulation until you allow them to go back into circulation. So I love the security freeze. Some people call them security freezes, some people call them credit freezes. There's a kind of a hybrid alternative called the credit lock. And essentially they kind of all do the same thing, which is to take your credit reports out of circulation until you choose to put them back into circulation. You can freeze them, you can unfreeze them as many times as you want, and there's no cost involved with doing so. I can do it using an app on my phone, so it's really, really easy to do. There's been some criticism about security freezes over the years that they're cumbersome, they're chunky, they're not immediate. It's been my experience that those things just are not true. I've been able to kind of thaw and refreeze my credit reports with very little lead time, and I've really never had a problem applying for credit, even though all of my credit reports have been frozen for many, many years. So I like that as an alternative. The next thing you can do is you can obviously put fraud alerts on your credit reports. This indicates to any future lenders that you may have been the victim of fraud, and they should contact you before continuing to process any applications. These are some really good tips to do. They're what I call passive, meaning you don't have to sit there and manage your credit freeze or manage your fraud alerts. Once you put them on the credit reports, they're there. Security freezes have to be done independently with all three of the credit bureaus. Fraud alerts, you only have to place it with one credit bureau. and they will contact the other 2 credit bureaus. So it's really a one-stop shop in that respect. The kind of like the least invasive thing you could do is probably access your credit reports periodically, just to kind of eyeball the information on them to make sure that it's accurate. That's not really a fraud prevention strategy in my mind, but it's something you should be getting in the habit of doing anyways. Credit monitoring, there are a variety of free credit monitoring options that are out there and available to consumers. I like those. The word free is really, I love that word when it comes to protecting your credit reports. So certainly taking advantage of some of the free credit monitoring services isn't a bad idea. In fact, none of the things that I've told you today, none of the strategies and things that you should consider doing, none of that stuff costs a dime. So you can leave your credit card in your wallet because you're not going to need it. So thanks a lot for watching. Hopefully you have never been the victim of fraud, but if you have been, then those are some of the tips you can do if you know that someone's trying to open an account in your name. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day. We'll talk again soon.
For more videos and credit tips from John Ulzheimer, go to www.tradelinesupply.com.